Hi, excellent. So everyone, thank you very much for watching the show. And I'm here with Elo Umeh, who's the CEO of TwinPine. I think one of Africa's first mobile ad networks. Is that correct, Elo?
Absolutely, we call us the first. We try to call ourselves Africa's specialist.
Specialist mobile ad network. Okay. So maybe for some of the people who don't know exactly what a mobile ad network is, maybe you can explain in your own words what TwinPine actually does.
What does TwinPine do? TwinPine helps, first of all, publishers make money from the content that they have, which is a lot. Africa has a lot of content. We try to help publishers make money out of that by coming on board mobile. And we also try to help them, stay focused on content and their core business, which is creating content. And by doing that, how do we do that? We do that by sourcing advertisers for them. And the advertisers come together and whatever revenues we make is split in favor of the publishers.
So you share with the publishers and the advertisers. Maybe you can also, again, for the people who don't know what a mobile ad network is, maybe you can explain what exactly is a publisher in the context of a mobile ad network.
A publisher, so with a brand, what brand can I think of? Nation in Kenya, for instance, is a publisher. Is a premium publisher, what we call a premium publisher. A publisher is anybody that owns content. It can be music content, it can be news content, it can be football content, whatever content. So Futa is a publisher in Kenya as well, and Choose Africa is a publisher in Kenya. Whoever owns content, so a journalist can own content.
Yeah.
Kemibaro.com is content, so that is what we do.
Okay. And maybe you can share with us a little bit of history around TwinPine. How did it start? It's a very unusual in the sense that we normally see ad networks like in Mobi out of India, plus City I think out of somewhere in Asia. Obviously AdMob, which is acquired by Google. So tell us a little bit more about the origins of TwinPine. How did you guys get started?
Very humble beginnings and still very humble. What we're trying to do, we saw an opportunity in. We were playing in mobile, and we were playing in mobile, and with a lot of focus on the internet. And we saw an opportunity that Africa's internet is going to be a mobile internet. And we saw that there was a big gap in getting publishers again to come on board mobile.
Okay.
And we felt that there was a need to come in from a development standpoint, which has been a lot of work, which is essential, and that covers essentially educating the publishers on why mobile. So everybody wanted to come online, but they wanted to come online on the web because that's what they
need.
Correct. But that was wrong. That was a wrong direction because the mass market in Africa will not own desktop computers. What they will own is mobile phones. And they are mobile for the way to access the internet from mobile devices. So going on the desktop and getting them going on desktop to publish your content wasn't the right way to go. So we felt that we needed to come in and bridge that gap, and that led to the birth of TwinPine. That explains it.
And I think that's very true because I think what you find in the last couple of years, this has been reinforced, is that most of the internet in Africa is mobile. I think in Kenya, for instance, there's some research that was done that over 90% of all internet access happens on mobile devices, if not through mobile connectivity. Maybe the next question I have for you is in terms of, obviously the market you work in is quite competitive. And maybe you can tell us about some of the things that make TwinPine unique or special compared to some of the other mobile ad networks you're familiar with.
We see, very, very competitive space. But for us, we approach it from what I would call the entire value chain. Yeah. So we take it from the customer's phone, from the mobile phone of the customer, down to the publisher. So we take the entire value chain. In between that value chain, we have the advertisers and we have the publishers. So what does that mean in layman terms? It essentially means that Google has a whole bunch of has a whole bunch of inventory, which is publishers on its network. And people go on Google and sign up. We don't do that. What we do is, we can do that, you can go on our network and sign up, but we are very focused on those publishers who we think have 70-80% of their traffic coming from mobile. But they don't know it. And we have a lot of these publishers all around Africa, and they don't have mobile sites.
Correct.
We go to them and we build dynamic pages for them. Google is not going to do that for you because Google is far away in California.
Correct.
And other ad networks, because mobile is something that's thriving globally, they take a whole bunch of pages put it together on the network and try to get advertisers to advertise on it. That's not what we're going to do. What we're going to do is that we'll come to a market, which we have done very successfully in Ghana, we've done very successfully in Nigeria, we've started to build relationships to do very successfully in East Africa. Is we go to every market, look at the market peculiarities, look at the dynamics of the market, look for the publishers that will give us the volume.
And you localize.
And we localize, absolutely, and we customize that and get the advertisers, which will be very attractive to advertisers because that is essentially what they're looking for.
I think many people maybe will be a little bit skeptical when you talk about an African ad network, especially coming out of Nigeria. You know the reputation. I don't think I need to go into more detail. But I think I've known you for some time, and you guys are doing some pretty incredible stuff. Where do you see yourselves going in 2 to 5 years? I mean, I think this could go anywhere.
I would like to touch on the points around coming out of Nigeria. Absolutely. Even in Nigeria, we suffered these perception issues. Agencies and brands in Nigeria didn't think it was for real, that a Nigerian business could come out and say they were trying to compete with AdMob, they were trying to compete with Imobi, Boss City out of Singapore. But we felt that we needed to have staying power. We needed to continue to show that we are credible. A lot of our leads have come from our publishers, who we went to the publishers telling them we'll help them make money. But they are the ones that went to meet the brands and said, I think you should work with these people. They came to us and they developed our business, and
so they were actually pushing
advertisers to us.
That's unusual.
Yeah, that is absolutely unusual. But that is the case about it. If there's value, I think it's a matter of time and that value will be recognized from the most unusual sources.
How do you deal with the challenge of technology? Because I know for a fact that most of the other ad networks, whether it's desktop or mobile or a mix of both, have a tendency of really having very strong tech and very strong tech people. How are you guys addressing that challenge? How do you deal with the issues of click fraud and so forth, which I know for a fact are one of the challenges that ad networks face? How are you essentially coping with the tech aspect of the business?
We couple of things. We've tried to go to, I think everybody will agree with me that Bangalore is somewhere that has huge innovation around technology, also has a huge supply of technology resources. We have our technology out of Bangalore now. We are
actually using tech from India.
Yes, we've just bought a company which gave us manpower as well.
Okay.
We're going to be managing our platform on an ongoing basis, and we're working very, very closely from the tech of the world. So issues around click fraud are things, our systems audits, our systems audit people look at that in detail before we pay our publishers, before we make payments to publishers, and also we talk very closely with our systems audit guys pay very close attention to those intricacies in mobile advertising business.
How about in terms of advertising? Do you find that on a Pan-African basis you're getting a lot of local revenue, meaning brands from Africa advertising on your platform, or do you find that you have a lot more international, or what we call import revenue, people who are trying to target consumers in Africa from outside? How's that going?
Initially, in fact, our validation came from the international guys, which is what I said in my last one previously, was it will come from the most unusual sources. The Nigerian ad network, but the international guys got into what we were doing. Some of our first customers were Google, who also own an ad network.
Yeah.
But we were one of our first customers to the agencies. So a lot of it came from the international guys, but now it's gradually started to skew to the locals. The locals are adopting. Why? Because when the global brands come on board, the locals just have no choice. The local case is
the confidence issue, maybe.
Absolutely, absolutely. Confidence perception. It's Nokia is an interesting one. We were advertising for Nokia for about 8 months, and the Nokia International had to ask the Nokia local offices in Nigeria to start using these guys. The results they're getting from us is interesting. It's been interesting. And we pitched it to the local guys, but we didn't get the buy-in.
I think when I asked you a couple of questions earlier, you mentioned that you position TwinPine as a premium network.
Absolutely.
Maybe you can elaborate on what that actually means for the people who may not know that.
Absolutely. So there's 2 types of advertising in the mobile ad business. One of it is blind advertising, and the other is premium. By premium, we mean we will tell you where your ads are landing. We will send you screenshots. We will manage your process from beginning to end with you. We'll walk you through strategy. Transparent. Absolutely. We'll walk you through strategy. We'll give you a dashboard. You look at your stuff, right? when we build a lot of confidence, we can run your campaigns without you even paying. So, and that is what Africa needs. Beyond going online, making payments and all that kind of stuff, we need to educate Africans. We need to engage with them. There needs to be a handholding. Why? Because broadband never happened. Broadband never happened in Africa. So we can't just leapfrog things. There are certain building blocks that need to be put in place, and we've got through the process, and that is what we're applying. And it has worked so far, and I think it's going to continue to work across markets with a little tweaking here and there.
Another thing that I wanted to ask you is that we all know that most people in African markets access international content on the web. You're focusing on local content, meaning that you might not have as large an inventory with publishers as, say, working with international publishers. From that point of view, does that represent any opportunities or challenges, the fact that you're working almost exclusively with local inventory, with local publishers?
We haven't limited it to just local publishers. We've done deals with partners who aggregate international content for us. We've done deals who aggregate international publisher content. So if you think of the likes of Cosmo, you think of the likes of Uber Twitter, you think of the likes of ESPN, I think of the likes of, those are inventory that we're already self-advertising on.
So your inventory can actually back
absolutely, absolutely. We can do all that. We've had those for several months, and we get a lot of demand around it as well. So that is, advertisers don't need to worry about international content, and we'll give you what you want.
Another thing I wanted to ask is that the African inventory, or rather the African consumer on mobile, generally is using feature phones, and is not really somebody who has a lot of disposable income. Whereas, let's say somebody viewing mobile ads in the US or Asia or Europe, obviously is on a smartphone and probably has a much higher amount of disposable income. Does that present any unique challenges in terms of how you're growing your network? Because, again, for a brand to target certain consumers, they're obviously looking for probably the most attractive consumer with the most money. But let's be honest, most of our users in Africa are at the bottom of the pyramid. So how does that work out for you? Because remember, the African market is predominantly feature phones, whereas internationally it's mostly smartphones and also rich media ads.
That's a very strong point. We at TwinPine it's been evolving slowly. When we launched our network about 18 months ago, we had 10% smartphones on the network and 90% feature phones. As of December 2012, we had 25% smartphones and 75%.
And that's just Nigeria?
That is just Nigeria.
It's grown to 25%.
It's grown to 25%.
And that's probably mostly Blackberries, yeah?
Yeah, that is Blackberries and and Androids actually. But it's grown.
So the mix is changing now.
It's changing. So what I always tell advertisers and publishers is, you don't need to sign up to mobile when it's 60-40 in favor of smartphones, because you're going to make your mistakes and it will not cost you at that time. You need to get on board now, make the mistakes when it's still with feature phones, you're still dealing with the lower end of the market, get the education now and start to grow gradually. By the time you want to get to 60%, everybody's going to be on mobile. And I think the next 18 to 24 months will be key, and it's going to move very, very fast. As soon as smartphones get to the point where it's below $100, Africa is going to get smartphone content.
Obviously, that puts pressure on you to come up with more innovative ad units, I presume.
We are already innovating around banners, kind of banners we sell. We are working closely with Nokia in a lot of northern East in Nigeria to innovate around banners that Nokia. Why Nokia? Because Nokia is going to push on the feature phone market. So how can we innovate? We're innovating around running interstitials on our network and splash screens and feature phones. Those are some of the innovations that we're doing. On the smartphone side, there's several innovations we've lined up on which we're working on the web tech.
Well, thank you very much, Elo. I'm glad that I got a chance to catch up with you here in Nairobi. And for everyone watching this on Kemibaro.com, I think we're going to keenly see how TwinPine does in the next 18 to 24 months. And I suppose wish them all the best in Kenya where they're setting up operations.
Thanks very much, Moses.
Okay.
Thank you for your time.